Hi everyone, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. For those of you who are new here, my name is Ashley. I am a perfumer living and working in Paris for a major fragrance company behind many of the fragrances for Prada, Paco Rabanne, and dozens of other designer fragrances. I've been working in this industry now for about 10 years. If you're interested in fragrance videos from an insider perspective, consider subscribing to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk to you guys all about dupes, how I feel about dupes, how to choose a good dupe, and whether or not you can wear a dupe and not smell cheap. So let's just jump right in. So first, what is a dupe? A dupe is essentially any fragrance that smells like a fragrance that's already been established in the market. So generally, you know, when you see a very expensive established fragrance like a Bois d'Argent by Dior, like a Baccarat Rouge by Francis Kurkdjian, you're also going to see dupes of it. And this is also true for many mainstream designer fragrances, a Bleu de Chanel, a Dior Sauvage. You'll see plenty of videos on YouTube saying, you know, don't buy this instead. This is the dupe. It smells just like the original. And, you know, again, I've been trained as a perfumer. I have 10 years of fragrance training. At this point, my nose has been developed to smell even the tiniest intricacies between an original fragrance and a dupe. And I have to say, some dupes get very close, where at first hit, it's very difficult to tell the two fragrances apart. And sometimes you even have to wait all the way to the dry down before you get whatever it is that separates the two fragrances. Although that's a rare case, generally within the first 5 or 10 minutes, at least on paper, I can find, you know, whatever separates the two. And many times, unfortunately, you can immediately tell the difference. Even if it's just something subtle to a very trained nose, they'll be able to tell the difference. That being said, this is under perfect conditions. If I have both fragrances side by side, I have the reference and I can smell the differences between the two. Chances are the average person walking past you on the street is not going to say, "That's not Coco Mademoiselle, that's a dupe." This is practically impossible. Also because skin chemistry can change a fragrance, and so if this is what's keeping you from not wearing a dupe, I wouldn't be afraid of that per se. What would keep me from wearing a dupe? One, not all fragrances are equally duped, let's say. So generally, the bigger a fragrance is, the larger chance it has of being duped. So, you know, your Chanel Bleu, your Dior Sauvage, even some really big niche fragrances, but I mean big, you know, your tiny brands like Memo or Fleur Iku, even if they're like medium-sized niche brands. I mean, you find these brands even in department stores, at least here in Paris. You're probably not going to find good dupes of those, but you probably will, you most definitely can for, again, a Baccarat Rouge or a Bois d'Argent. Why is that? Really big fragrances are studied. People will run people will do gas chromatography on them, essentially, meaning they can see all of the chemicals and all of the compounds and all of the naturals that exist in that formula. As you can imagine, analysis like this is quite costly, and so this is why it's only done for already top-selling fragrances, because the people making the dupes want to make sure that analyzing and studying this perfume and the money that goes into it, they can get back out of it. And so if you're looking for a dupe of a fragrance that is not massive, not a massive seller, not massively well known, you're probably not going to find a good dupe of it. For the purposes of research, I bought a couple Zara dupes, and just to see, and I would say about half were good dupes, where I would say if you were wearing it and someone smelled you, they would get the idea enough. If they knew the fragrance, they would think you are wearing, you know, whatever the fragrance was. I don't want to divulge too many details because this isn't a whole thing of like, buy this, buy that. I don't really want to get too into that. But I would say the pattern that I saw when smelling these was, if it was a huge fragrance, then they had a pretty good dupe of it. Now, let's get into fragrances that maybe aren't huge, but are like really loved in the fragrance community. So one of the dupes that I was most excited for was the Tom Ford Lost Cherry, because I read somewhere, and I don't remember where, that it was just like Lost Cherry, but with good longevity. And for those of you who know me, you know that I don't get any longevity out of Lost Cherry. And I love this fragrance just as it is, but I would love if it actually had some lasting power. So I bought the dupe of it. It's called Cherry something. I believe there's 2 cherry ones at Zara, and they're allegedly duping 2 different things. And I got the one that's supposed to be the Lost Cherry dupe. It is not a Lost Cherry dupe. It smells nothing like Lost Cherry. It's a cool fragrance. It does smell like cherry, and it does smell like cherry vanilla. It does have longevity. It does not smell like Lost Cherry. I'm actually wearing it right now. I would give this fragrance like a 5 out of 10. I'm not hating on it in any way. To me, if I'm a very strict grader, 5 out of 10 means it's wearable. You know, no one's gonna think you smell gross. It's nice. It's perfectly pleasant. Maybe it's a 6 out of 10, but that's like the most I would give it. This is where you start to risk smelling cheap. And this was the next part of the video that I wanted to get into, in why dupes can sometimes smell cheap. So I don't know Zara's intention in creating this fragrance. Maybe they were not trying to do Lost Cherry at all. This could very well be it. Not every Zara fragrance or mango fragrance is a dupe. I think sometimes they do just want maybe an idea that's very popular. Maybe here they just thought cherry's cool, cherry could work. Perfectly fine thing to do, you know? It's not really copying the fragrance, it's copying a theme, which also is very different. The thing is with fruity notes, and I think what Tom Ford does so well, is that he doesn't try to make a note something that it's not. So a lot of times these cherry type notes, they're very ephemeral and they don't have good longevity. And so if you want something beautiful, it's not gonna come with long lastingness. One of the reasons that I love vanilla so much, if you can check out my vanilla video, I'm crazy about vanilla, is because it's beautiful and it has great longevity. Now, some cherry notes, that kind of more vanilla part will last a really long time, but that fruity, tart, juicy bit, really hard to get long lasting in a fragrance. And that's just from a chemistry standpoint, it's just hard to make a composition this way. Now, here in whatever Zara cherry that I'm wearing now, it's the same thing. It doesn't get to the juiciness that I feel in Lost Cherry, that like really yummy cherryness. It does have a cherry, but it's more this powdery vanilla cherry, and it's very monotone all the way through. It doesn't have the same sparkle that Lost Cherry has. And so this is when it starts to smell just a little bit cheap for me, because it's just kind of like this simple vanilla with a slight cherry inflection, not infection. And yeah, so when you're looking for a dupe, again, you have to be super careful, because Lost Cherry is a pretty big fragrance, right? I mean, you can find it in malls across the world, but of course it's not a Sauvage. It's not, you know, a Bleu, it's not a Daisy, it's not a Coco Mademoiselle, it's not a Chance. Like, it has to really be one of these types of fragrances that you want to dupe to get a good dupe, if you're just kind of, you know, going for it. There's plenty of reviews to say this is a good dupe for this is a good dupe for that. In my experience, it's actually really, really hard to find a good dupe outside of the category that I've just discussed. And so, yeah, I just want to help you guys save your time, save your money, because we'd all love, you know, for our favorite niche or luxury fragrance to be well duped. And unfortunately, it's just not the case. I think of the fragrance marketplace right now is that there are a lot of dupes. And I think I said at the beginning of the video, I definitely do not condone fakes at all. It just makes life so much more difficult. It's so heartbreaking when you think you're buying an authentic fragrance and you're getting a fake. But the thing with dupes is they're not really pretending to be anything that they're not. So that's that. Let me know if you have a favorite dupe, if you feel like it's a good dupe, if you feel like it's one-to-one, you've smelled it side by side by the original, because I think this could be a big part of it as well, is people think they have a really good dupe because they're only working off the memory of the original as opposed to a side by side, and that makes all the difference. And so when I was, going through the dupes that I bought for science, the differences were really on the side by side, paper to paper. For the bigger fragrances, harder to tell, and for the other ones it was more like in the same vein, like this is still a vanilla, this is still a cherry, but it's not at all the same fragrance to me. So yes, I hope you guys have a lovely week, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye everyone.